The rise of the non-religious in the Pope's homeland. In Argentina and its neighbor Uruguay, there is a significant rise of religious disaffiliation with a particular increase among those identifying as atheists or secular activists. In Argentina, the percentage of people who don't identify with any religion has doubled within the past 15 years. Similarly, Uruguay stands out in Latin America with more than half of its 3.3 million people identifying as religiously unaffiliated. Half of Uruguay is religiously unaffiliated. Lynn Powell Rafeta, part of the Argentine Coalition for a Secular State, has been at the forefront of an apostasy movement within Argentina, which involves formally quitting the Catholic Church. This trend is not just a rejection of religious doctrine, but also a response to public debates on sexual and reproductive rights. As traditional religious institutions lose influence due to scandals and social issues, secular activists in both countries are gaining ground, advocating for a society where spirituality is a matter of personal choice rather than an institutional dictate. So this is part of that big portfolio of stories examining the rise of the nuns around the world. And I thought it was really interesting that they were examining the rise of the non-religious in South America. Um, a lot of this article was dedicated to kind of the diffuse spiritual practices that a lot of quote unquote nuns engage in. Because for those who are not familiar, nuns refer to when taking a survey and ask for your religious belief, instead of marking off a category like Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever, you say none. But nuns are actually, it's like an umbrella category, right? There's just like diffuse non religious, and then there's self identified atheists and self identified agnostics. In America, it's split pretty much half between like the diffuse non-religious people and then the atheists and agnostics. Um, so a lot of these nuns actually are spiritual in their own way, but don't engage, they don't like organized religion, versus obviously the atheists and agnostics take a more firm stance. Um, but I thought it was really interesting to see such a huge explosion happening in Argentina. And it feels very predictable, as we've seen in many countries, that there is a strong reaction to the corruption and moral bankruptcy of the Catholic Church.
What would you do if you were looking at this from a business perspective, as the Catholic Church? How would you address this? How would you try to turn the tide? I would focus on Africa if I was me, if I was the church.
That's what they're already doing. They're already focusing on
Yeah.
Latin America and Africa already.
But Latin America, I thought they're doing better in Latin America. You're saying they're doing bad also in Latin America. That means like that would make me want to
Argentina
really focus.
specifically, Argentina and Uruguay
Oh.
specifically, but
Hmm.
Latin and South America is much larger as a whole. And it's a little bit difficult because the Anglican Church, the Catholic Church are dealing with the situation where they're becoming increasingly unpopular in quote unquote Western countries. Their people are not engaging with the church at all. So they're trying to kind of liberalize as much as possible to try to hold and keep up with public opinion in these countries. But meanwhile, in the other countries, the way that they get their strength is by doubling down into traditionalism. But then people there also react poorly to that as well. It's very difficult.
Hmm. If I was a business consultant for the Catholic Church, right, I would look at them as their business model as they're a real estate company / an event management company. Okay, so because they have all these churches buildings, they own them, and they at least they don't own them. They it's like a franchise business, right? So it's like McDonald's. They have all these McDonald's everywhere. So these buildings, what to do with them. What I think one of the reasons why, because there's a lot of competing, people could spend their time on so many things, and they are spending less time in churches, and that's basically their business model. So how could I get people back in churches? Well, the main problem is with the churches is that the sermon part is just way too long and it's boring, and people's attention spans are very short, and they have TikTok and Facebook and live streams and all these other things. People have better things to do just to keep themselves engaged, and your sermons are killing it. I mean, killing it not in a good way. They're destroying your business model, because who wants to go and listen to a sermon? So what I would do if I was a business consultant, I would like cut the sermons to like 3 minutes, and the rest of it has to turn into like a party, like event. Like, you have these buildings, you have events, people come there. What should I do for them to come? Don't have an old man talking to people about the Bible, right? Turn it into festive events. Make them dance and celebrate. I don't know, decorate things, do something with, make people do
Habibi,
something
what
with
you
their
do
hands.
not understand is that's Protestant stuff.
Oh, okay.
That no,
You can't do that?
honey. No. See, this is how Protestants act. Protestants can go do
No.
all that stuff. Protestants, they can go have their mega churches. They can have their absolutely
Well, then,
fire gospel singers. Because let's be honest, like a black gospel choir, I don't care if you're not religious at all.
I mean,
That will lift you off your feet. Okay, so like,
well, what would you do? You
this
have
is
knowledge over
like what separates Catholics is like their gravitas, and they
right.
really hold on to that, and they hold like a superiority because of that. Like, I don't know if people understand that. Like, all that celebration stuff, like that is just not seen and felt as Catholic. Maybe other people like know what I'm talking about. I'm having a hard time expressing it.
Okay, we'll give them something elegant then to do. How about, how the Pope, not the Pope, all these priests comes and they're wearing like really special clothes, and they have these little play things, toys that they play with, metal things and stuff that has smoke comes out of it, and they pour something. It seems like very special, right? And we're like, oh, this is fancy. I like it. It looks very elegant and fancy. Okay, well, give everybody something like that. Like, everybody has to have something in front of them, and they all have to be able to just. You have to give everybody robes, not just the priest. Okay, so how about that? Everybody gets to wear a robe. Make it Hogwarts like. Yeah, make it Hogwarts like. Right, so everybody gets to wear robes, and everybody make it like, act like this is your Universal Studios, and everybody is pretending to be a wizard, right? So instead of a wand, give them something like a cross, some pretty thing like a cross, and everybody gets to wear a robe, and everybody gets a cross, and they have to do something with it. Everybody has their own project at their table where they're sitting. It's not just praying.
Okay, well,
Okay,
that's a
something like that.
problem because a key fixture of the Catholic Church is the priest's like authority over its members. So if we're all wearing
Well,
special
then go
robes,
bankrupt. You know what? Just go bankrupt. I'm trying to go bankrupt. Okay, I don't know what you're gonna do. I'm trying my best.
Imran is saying so Catholics are like Christian Shias, exactly, which is why I have always felt a special affinity for the Shias, and this is why I am a secret Shia. Okay. Because it's about crying and hurting yourself. Miriam, who is a Christian, is saying Catholics who take their faith seriously look down on us Protestants for being half-assed Christians. Basically, yeah. Like,
That's
a lot
because
of
you are.
Catholics,
That's because
especially in
you are
America.
half-assed.
In America, a lot of the evangelical movement is kind of seen as like the McDonald's of Christianity.
Right.
Gasian American is saying, how do Catholics feel
Ooh.
about Dia de los Muertos? So obviously, a lot of people who celebrate Dia de los Muertos like are self-professed Catholics. I guess you would mean like, what does a Catholic church feel about Dia de los Muertos? I don't actually know. I don't know what official proclamations they've made about it. I know, for example, the church takes a very strong official stance against many forms of folk Catholicism, as it's known. And one of them, one form of folk Catholicism would be like the crucifixions that you see people do, or also Santa Muerte. Um, and they take a strong stance against that, but I can't speak to de los Muertos specifically. Asian American is saying Saint trading card game. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Remember last week when we talked about how Japanese shrines are staying alive by people becoming stamp collectors, where they get the pretty calligraphy stamps at the shrines? They need to
Yes,
do
yes,
the
yes.
same
That's
thing.
what I was saying. You're right. That's a good idea. Okay, I have a better idea. My last idea. Okay, this one I think will work. I know you kind of dismiss all my other ideas. Okay, but this is a central part of the Catholic Church experience, and I think focusing on that will help. Okay, the bread, okay, that you're supposed to eat. Make the body of Jesus from bread. Okay, so when you go, you have the body of Jesus dead, but it made out of bread, and you have to go eat the bread as if you are taking actually body parts of Jesus's body. So make a Jesus-like figure out of bread, because you're supposed to eat, and also put the wine like in the bread in a way that when you get the bread out, the wine will come out as if the
How is
blood
that
is the
going
blood.
to attract Catholics? How is that going to attract Catholics? That doesn't
I mean,
appeal to
it's
Catholics. Catholics don't see this as human sacrifice.
no, they say it's a literal body of Christ, right? So make Jesus out of bread. Make a Jesus figure out of bread, and when you're eating the bread, it really feels like you're eating Jesus. No, it would be a Halloween scene. You could all act like zombies. You could make zombie noises as well, and you were like,
Okay, my
no,
Catholic is
no,
jumping out because, like, you just
no.
have a fundamental you just don't understand, like, the relationship to the Eucharist. It's so reverent. Like, I
What
can't
is
even express it, and my brain is exploding. That's fundamentally not any I don't even know how to respond to that.
it?
I
I don't
don't
know.
know
I
how to
think it would.
describe to people that didn't grow up in the Catholic Church, like, exactly how the Eucharist is treated. It's yeah, it's beyond. Um, this is a random fun fact. But this article taught me about how Uruguay apparently has an extremely strong secular history. Um, Actually, honestly, like some of the things that they do seems stronger than America. And in fact, Uruguay had an openly atheist president.
Oh wow!
Mhm.
Holy crap!
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, he won a Nobel Peace Prize.
Wow! I did not know that. Okay, that's impressive. Also,
And
this is the
so
best
it's
idea
to
so
the
far.
point that they were all saying that like priests basically have like no power in Uruguay.
Oh, fantastic! I love that country now for some reason. By the way, this is the best idea.
Asian
Yeah, I
American
think so.
is saying wine shots off of Christ's belly.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do. And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.